Welcome to the sixth meeting of Bangalore Urban SolidWorks User Group Network. In short, BUS. Oh, okay, I still haven't changed, but it's BUSWork. Sorry about that. And today we have Yahya with us. This is the second time we're having Yahya as a presenter about SolidWorks Certifications 101. So I think we had Yahya as a first presenter, I think in the second week of September. Yeah, and we got many requests from you guys saying that it'd be great meeting again. So here it is. Welcome. Thank you, Yahya, for accepting our invitation for the second time. And
It's my pleasure.
yeah, so I'm not. So just a small notification for you guys. So what is the benefit of being a SolidWorks user group network member? The first thing is, yeah, you'll get some amazing insights from experts and champions like Yahya. We'll have many other people from all over the world connecting with us, so you can communicate with others, ask others anything, and if you have any doubts or if you have any projects that you want help with from others, you can ask anyone from these connections. And it's more like you'll build a group here. And the second thing is, yeah, you'll get to win amazing vouchers for SolidWorks certifications, and yeah, you'll get. Sometimes we give away $25 Amazon vouchers. Last time we had given it to one of the members of the SolidWorks user group network. And the third one is, you will get 20% offer on SolidWorks 3D Experience platform. It is not in India right now, but it will be in India very soon. I think it will be in India by the end of 2021. So keep an eye on that. The SolidWorks 3D Experience platform is only $100 per year, and if you are the user group member, you'll get 20% offer on that. So, and yeah, just uh, sorry. Oh, and today, okay, I think, and okay. Okay, sorry about that. My Microsoft PowerPoint has crashed.
No problem.
Yeah, I'll just stop sharing. And today we have Yahya with us,
No
who will be
problem.
presenting on SolidWorks Certifications 101. It's basically everything about SolidWorks certification that you want to know before taking SolidWorks examinations. So, Yahya, the stage is all yours. I think I've made you the presenter. Yeah, the stage is all yours, Yahya.
Thanks. You still haven't made me a presenter, by the way.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
No problem. Perfect. Okay. Let's get started. So, hey guys, it's Yahya, of course. Welcome to SolidWorks user group at Bangalore Urban, or BUSWork, so I remember to change that name. This is the second version of the SolidWorks Certifications 101 session. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. And first of all, let's get to know who I am. So I'm a SolidWorks user since 2016. So, I mean, it's a bit over 5 years right now. As I said a couple of minutes ago before the session, when someone asked, I got my first certification last year. So first certificate was in July 2020. And by the way, it was the CSWA mechanical design certification. In September 2020, I became a SolidWorks champion, and I joined the champions program. Then in this year, on the 27th of March, I became a certified SolidWorks expert. And by the way, that's the day right before my 19th birthday. So it was like the best birthday gift I could ever give myself. So as of right now, I'm certified in 9 topics, and I'm going to talk about the different topics in a while. In general, I have 11 certifications till now. Wish me luck, because I'm just trying to get a couple of more. So you're not here for me, you're here for our agenda. What are we going to talk about today? So first of all, we're just going to talk about a quick recap about the certification program and what's it about, when did it start, and such stuff. Then we're going to talk about why should you be interested into being certified, what's the benefit for you, And then we're going to talk about the different topics and levels, as I just said. And we're going to check out the tester, the program we take the exams on. We're going to like simulate as if you're going to take a real exam. Then we're going to talk about pricing. Of course, this is the topic that it's like the most controversial topic right now, pricing of the exams and the different pricing options, and of course freebies, because everyone wants something for free. And then we're going to talk about the 3D Experience Certification Center, which if you don't know it yet, then you are missing a lot. And finally, we're going to talk about general resources. So resources, if you're interested in getting an exam, taking an exam like in a month or a couple of times, what should you do? How should you prepare such stuff? We're going to talk about all of that. So let's get started. First of all, the history of the SOLIDWORKS certification program. So it all started back in 1998 when the first certification came out. It was the CSWP, Certified SOLIDWORKS Professional Exam. And back in the day, it was a tedious process to take an exam. First of all, it was like a $500 exam, which was very pricey back in the day. And to take it, you had to sit on a computer for 8 hours. Right now it's like 3 hours and 20 minutes. So back in the day it was 8 hours, and you can't take it online or virtually. You had to go to a certification center at a reseller or something, and you had to sit there and take the exam, and then you go back home, and the second day the results get mailed to you. So right now, as soon as I finish the exam, I get the results. That wasn't the case back then. So as you can see, if any one of you took an exam before, you can see the long way we went from back in the day in 1998. So after that, this CSWA exam, the associate level exam, came out in 2006, and that was a bit more directed to students and hobbyists and beginners. Then in 2007, the very first professional advanced exam came out, which was the sheet metal exam. And as of right now, there are 5. So along the years, one by one, more and more advanced professional exams came out. In 2010, and in SOLIDWORKS World 2010, the CSWE exam was announced, the expert level exam, which, by the way, is the highest level a mere user can reach. Okay. Then in 2013, the 5th and final CSWPA exam came out, which was the drawing tools. And by the way, back in the day, there was another CSWPA exam, which was the FEA, or simulation, but it got removed and became another professional exam, and another professional advanced exam came to replace it. So anyways, that was back in 2013. In the middle of all these like checkpoints, a couple of changes haven't happened to different exams. So by the way, by I believe 2009, the CSWP exam was changed for the 4th time. There are lots of exams that came out, but these are like the most important ones. So as you can see, in 2018, the CSWPA MM, or mold making exam, got revamped. And I'm talking about this one in particular because, first of all, before it got revamped, it was called mold tools. Then when it got revamped, it was called changed to mold making. And I included it because before it was changed, it was like the easiest exam to take. And after it was changed, it became one of the hardest exams. And I'm going to talk about that in a sec. So in 2019, the second expert level exam came out, which was the simulation exam. And then in 2020, the very first 3D experience exams came out. Actually, there were 2 exams that were announced together. And of course, that wasn't the end of it because, for example, in 2020, I think in December, the CSWP flow simulation exam came out. I mean, like, the exams are still coming out one by one, but these are like the most important ones. So that's enough of history. Let's talk about why to be certified. Why should you be interested into getting certified? So it depends on who you are and where you are right now. So for example, if you're an owner of a company or an organization, and you have a couple of employees that work for you, so exams can be valuable to you if you want to benchmark their level. You want to see what topics they're good at, what topics they need to improve, For example, if you want to provide them with training, so you want to know how good are they before providing them with training, because of course if you have a couple of like experts in the field working for you, you don't want to give them a training in beginner stuff, right? So exams are the easiest way to benchmark your employees level, and if you have any necessary training you want to give them based on their level, you know what kind of topics or what kind of level you're gonna talk about. Okay. So the second thing is if you're a graduate, so you finished your college or you finished your degree, and now you're looking for a job. So first of all, exams are the easiest and fastest way to demonstrate your skills. So for example, if I'm applying for a job, let's take it with an easier example. If I'm applying to be a freelancer, okay, so it's going to be a bit hard to show everyone a session with me where I'm modeling or designing something just to prove them that I have skills. What do? I just make an online portfolio. So I just share CAD files or screenshots or videos about the stuff I made. So exams are the same thing. So I want to show them that I'm actually very good to this level in this topic. So I just share my certification that I'm certified from SolidWorks in this topic to that level. Okay, so instead of just having to prove to every single person that you're skilled to a certain degree, exams do that for you. The second thing is proof of industry specific knowledge. And that's actually the point I was talking about back when I was talking about the CSWPA mold making exam. So for example, when it got changed for the second time to a second version, most of the topics that the exam focuses on were, of course, the software itself and the mold making tools inside the software. But there was also the part that if you're not immersed in the industry physically, you won't actually be able to solve all the questions. The same goes something like the CSWPA sheet metal exam. So for example, if I don't know what a K factor is, I'm not going to be able to solve an exam because the data or the details I get in the exam are industry specific. So the terms, the jargon that these people use, I might find that in the exam. So as of course, most of you might know, exams are not just proof of your skills inside the software, but also your skills to make real things happen. Okay. The third thing is, let's say, for example, that I want to make a design, but not a 3D design, a 2D design, a graphic design. So I want to be a graphic designer, for example. So the best tools I should use are the tools that the industry is really is immersed in, or the industry standards, right? So for example, the standard for graphic designing is probably Adobe Photoshop. For vector designing is probably Adobe Illustrator, and so on. So the industry standard software for mechanical designing is in many cases considered to be SolidWorks. So if you have a certification in SolidWorks to a certain level, that means that you're actually using the software that the industry or most of the industry agrees on that it's the industry standard. Okay, so all of these points lead us to one main thing, which I believe all graduates want to, which is finding or getting better jobs. So let's say, for example, you have your CV. So if you put in your CV that you're actually a certified SolidWorks professional, for example, so this already boosts your resume to a certain degree or a certain level, because you now stand out from the crowd by having certain skills and proving those skills if others didn't do so. Okay, so that's for graduates. What about students? So whether they're students at schools or at colleges, college, so the same thing probably applies from graduates to students, because for example, I want to prove my skills. A graduate can do it and a student can do the same. But the most important difference is that when it comes to students, they have a certain thing or a different thing in mind. So most of them won't be really looking for jobs. They might be looking for internships. Okay, they might be looking into getting into design teams. So for example, if your college is getting into a designing competition, or actually like a mechanical designing competition, something like formula or like you know, rally competitions and stuff like that, designing car, designing airplane, designing multiple stuff, and actually making these things in real life. So you don't just design stuff, but you also have to validate your designs. So you link between your knowledge in the software and your knowledge in the industry. That's exactly what I just said a couple of moments ago when it comes to exams. So if you're certified to a certain level, let's say for example, I'm certified in weldments, and I want to participate in a team where we're going to design a car and make a car, and of course we're going to use weldments. So since I'm certified, they already know that I have certain knowledge in the software, and I can apply that knowledge in real life as well. Okay, and the final point when it comes to students is I get to do all the things that graduates do, but a bit earlier. So, for example, over here in Egypt, engineering is 5 years. I believe that in most places it's only 4. But let's say, for example, but right now I'm a third year engineering student, so I don't have to wait till I graduate, then start looking for courses or start improving my skills. That's gonna take time before I start applying to jobs, right? But if I do all that stuff before I even graduated, okay, so as soon as I graduate, I already have the strong base that I can talk from. I already have enough credibility to apply to big jobs and you know, like get interviews and probably even get accepted. Okay, so now that we've talked about the importance of exams, let's see what different topics and levels there are. So let's start with the levels. So when it comes to levels, there are 3 main categories. There's the associate level, professional level, and the expert level. Okay, so these 3 levels are from the like the least level to the highest level. Associate is, as I said, for mostly for students or beginners. Professional is like for people who are using the software for like a year or more, and experts is for experts, as I said. And as I said before, experts is the highest level a mere user like me and you can reach. Okay, so when it comes to naming, exams are actually named after the title you get. So for example, the CSWA exam stands for Certified SolidWorks Associate. So that's the title that you get as soon as you pass the exam. Okay, so for example, the CSWP, Certified SolidWorks Professional, PA is Professional Advanced, and E is for Expert. Okay, so now let's talk about the topics. Okay, so there are multiple topics, of course, and I like to divide them into 2 categories, 2 main categories: one-offs and series. So one-offs are one-off exams, as the name implies. So it's just one exam of its kind, and there are no other levels from that exam. So for example, in the associate level, we have the CSWA electrical design. So there's only one electrical design exam, and it's that one. Okay, the same goes for sustainable design and additive manufacturing. So as of right now, there are only one exam of every one of these 3. The same goes for in the professional level, the NBD exam, which is mold-based definition, the CAM exam, API, if you're interested in macros and such stuff, the flow simulation exam, and the CPAP is the Certified PDM Administrator Professional. So if you're interested into PDM and that stuff, there's also an exam for that. But as I said, it's only one exam in that topic. There aren't many versions of that exam in multiple levels. Okay, and of course the advanced professional exams, every single one of these 5 is only one exam in its kind. There aren't any more exams in weldments. It's only one, and it's the CSWPA weldments exam. So these are the one-offs. Then there are the series. So when it comes to series, there are 2 series right now: mechanical design series and the simulation series. And each one of them has 3 exams in it: the associate exam, professional exam, and the expert. For example, in mechanical design, we've got the CSWA, P, and E in mechanical design. And most of the time, when someone just says CSWA, he probably, like 99% of the time, he means CSWPA, CSWA MD, so the mechanical design. If he says CSWE, most of the time that implies that he means the mechanical design version of that exam. But there are actually also the simulation versions, CSWA and simulation, the professional one and the expert. Okay, so these are the levels and topics of the exams real quick. Okay, now let's get into this. This is a mechanical design lineup certification roadmap. Yeah, I know the name is a bit lengthy, but I'm just thinking of a shorter name. If you actually guys have a better name, just say it in chat. It's gonna be awesome. So this is an image I found online, and it's actually like pretty popular. I found it in multiple places. And it's just like a roadmap that if you want to be a fully certified user in mechanical design, you should probably go through this roadmap. And I'm gonna go through it real quick. It starts with learning the essentials, so you know the basics of the software and that stuff. Then you're ready for the CSWA exam. And as I said, if I just said CSWA, that most of the time implies that it's the mechanical design version, okay, version of the exam. Then there's assembly modeling, advanced part modeling, and drawings, and that takes you to the CSWP. Then you're ready for the CSWPA in drawing tools. You learn sheet metal to get to the sheet metal exam. The same for weldments, surfacing, and mold design. And after you finish all that, you're ready for the CSWE exam. So, I mean, in most of it, like it's like 60 or 70% correct. But in my opinion, it's just wrong. There's a better version. So that's what I did. I made a better version. This is my personal version of the certification roadmap in mechanical design. And you're gonna notice a couple of different things. So back in the other version, it was just like a linear progressive road. But in my case, I believe it's like multiple branches that get out from the same route, and they actually might even come together at the very end. So let's take it one by one. We start with essentials, of course, knowing how to make a simple model, how to make sketches, how to make simple assemblies, mates, that kind of stuff. And that is enough to take you to the CSWA exam in mechanical design. Okay, so let's get to the branches first. So after the essentials, if you have essentials and drawing tools knowledge, you can go to the drawing tools exam. Essentials and surfacing can take you to the surfacing exam. Essentials and weldments for the weldments. Essentials and sheet metal for the sheet metal. So for example, if you want to go to the surfacing exam, all you need is knowledge about the essentials of mechanical designing and CAD designing, and knowledge about surfacing tools in the software. You don't need to go according to the previous one through the CSWP or through the drawing tools, for example, which was for some reason placed before it. Okay, so these are the four main branches. Back to the main branch, which is in the very middle. After the CSWA mechanical design, if you get more immersed in mechanical design and get to know advanced part modeling and advanced assemblies, that can take you to the CSWP mechanical design. More and more advanced modeling, that can take you to the expert. But as you can see, all the four branches that we branched out at the very beginning, they all come back again, because in the CSWE exam in mechanical design, you actually have 5 topics in the exam. The exam includes 5 topics. So these 5 topics are mechanical designing, so like just plain mechanical designing. Then there's surfacing, there's drawing tools, there's weldments, and there's sheet metal. All 5 topics are present in the CSWE exam. And that's why I find that all of these 5 topics should be included, and you should know all of them before you go to the CSWE exam. Some of you might notice that the mold making exam is actually in the branch of the surfacing, because to take the mold making exam, let's forget about exams for now. To use mold making tools, you have to use some of the surfacing tools. So that means that mold making is actually needs from you a certain level of surfacing skills, and that's why I put it after the CSWPA surfacing exam. But actually, it's not, as you can see, it's not actually related to the CSWE exam, and that's because as of right now, the CSWE exam doesn't include anything that, like nothing even related to mold making. It's not even there at all. Okay, but just as I said, this is a roadmap for certifications. But there's another thing that I have to say, which is that prerequisites exist for some exams. So as of right now, there are 2 exams that have prerequisites, that the CSWE in mechanical design and the CSWE in simulation. And what prerequisites means is that there are certain exams that you have to pass first before you go to the second one. So for example, you can't take the CSWE exam without passing the CSWP in mechanical design, the CSWPA exams. There are 5 of them, so you need to take at least any 4 of them. Okay, so that sums up to 5 exams that you have to pass before you go to the CSWE exam. Okay, so as I said before, the CSWP in mechanical design and any 4 of the CSWPA exams. Okay, you can choose any 4, and you can even choose the mold making as one of the 4, but as I said, it's not included in the final exam in the CSWE, and actually all the other 4 topics are included in the CSWE exam. So that's for mechanical design. When it comes to simulation, there's actually 3 prerequisites: the CSWA in simulation, CSWP in simulation. Most of you might think that the CSWP in flow simulation is also included, but no, it's not included. The third one, CSWP in mechanical design. So to become a certified SOLIDWORKS expert in simulation, you have to know, you have to reach a certain level of mechanical design skills, okay, as well as the 2 previous exams, the CSWA and P in simulation, okay. So that's about the roadmaps. So now let's talk about the tester. So for example, I purchased an exam and I want to take it. So this is a screenshot from inside the tester, which is the software that we use to take exams. And this link, if you just go to it, 3dexperience.virtualtester.com, it's going to take us to this website, which is the official website for any exams you want to take. Okay, it's like the directory that we go to when we want to take exams. Okay, so first of all, the software that we take the exam on, it's called Tangix Tester Pro Client, and to download it, you go to this website. I'm actually going to post the link in the chat for you guys. So here it is. Okay, so if you go to that link, you're going to be able to download the tester. The connection is a bit slow. Yeah. So if you press on this button over here, download Tester Pro Client at the upper right corner, you're going to download the software. And let me just do it real quick. So I downloaded it over here. And as you can see, if I ran the this exe file and said run, I'm going to agree to the terms, install. And there it is. Let me just not run it for now. Okay, and I just want to show you that I chose this place, my desktop, as the installation place, the installation directory. As you can see, I have this is the software, Tangix Tester Pro, and these are the library files, some files that the software uses to run perfectly. So we don't need these files and anything. We don't have to play with them. Just leave them as they are. Don't delete them. And as soon as I run this exe file, you notice 2 things. So first of all, this means that I'm actually running the software, okay? And you're gonna notice the first thing is that there's a log file that's been created, and that log file means that any stuff I do in my session, as you can see, the software is open now. Any stuff I do is saved in that log file. If I took an exam, it's gonna say that this person took an exam at this time, and so on. And the use of these log files is that if, for example, my software crashed, or my power, if I'm working on a laptop and the battery died or anything, I can use these log files to send them to the certification team and tell them, hey, I got an issue, how can you help me? And most probably they can actually give you another test or another version of the exam to take. So as you can see, here it is. It asked me to enter some of my details and that stuff. I already have an account, but before I go to there's just this option over here, list in online directory of certified users. Remember this option because, as I said, the directory of certified users, which I just downloaded this software from, if you want to be listed in there, if someone went there and searched for your name, if you want him to find you or not, this option is what controls that. So let me just real quick sign up, and here we are. So I entered my credentials, and as you can see, there are multiple softwares that I can take the exams for. So if I'm interested in CATIA, in 3D Experience, 3D Experience Works, or just plain SolidWorks, let's go with that for now. And as you can see, here's the list of available exams for me right now. Of course, this isn't the full list, so it just shows some of them. But if you purchased an exam, it's gonna be shown over here. Instead of no credits, it's gonna say start now. Okay, if I haven't purchased any exam, then of course it's either gonna say no credit, which means that you haven't bought it yet, or it's not just gonna show up. If you got a voucher, which probably happens when you win with Prasad in a while. So if you got a voucher, just entering the voucher in here and clicking submit, it's gonna, yeah, sure, it's gonna show the exam in here, and it's gonna say start exam so that you can take the exam as soon as possible. If, for example, I want to take the associate exam in simulation, as you can see, I have no credits right now, but I can say buy credits, and it's going to take me to a website. So let me just do it. Okay, it's going to take me to a website where I can place my order and purchase the exam without even needing to go to anywhere else. So as you can see, the CSWA in simulation, that's its price, and I just enter my billing information and that stuff, and that's it. Okay, so right now let me just exit. Okay, and let's get back to our presentation. So as you can see, as soon as I start the exam, it tells me the exam is, these are its details, it's that minutes long, it has that number of questions. Are you ready? Are you sure you want to take the exam? As soon as you say okay, it takes you to the exam. Okay, and we're going to see that in a couple of minutes. So now that we talked about pricing, this is the full list of all the available prices for all the available exams. So the pricing is divided into 5 main categories. The least is for $20 or 18 euros or 16 pounds or 25 Canadian dollars. And I chose these exact 4 currencies because these currencies are constant no matter what your currency is. So for example, over here, I'm from Egypt. We use the Egyptian pound. Okay, so with the Egyptian pound, the price of one exam in Egyptian pounds might increase or decrease, but the price of it in dollars or euros or pounds or Canadian dollars is always constant. Okay, so the CSWE exam, or in electrical design, or the CSWA in sustainable design, these 2 exams are for $20, and all 5 of the CSWPA exams are also for the $20. That's the cheapest category. The second one is for $33, and that's every segment of the CSWP mechanical design. So in case you don't know, the CSWP and mechanical design is the only exam that is divided into multiple segments. So although there are ways to take it in one full 3 hour and 30 minute session, but that's just a tedious thing to do, and it's like a bit nerve-breaking. So you can actually take it in 3 separate sessions, purchase each session on its own, take each session on its own in any order you like. For myself, I actually took the second, then the third, then the first, and as soon as you pass in all 3 sessions, in all 3 segments, you get the final certification. So each segment is worth $33, and that just sums up to about $99 or like $100. Okay, the third category is for $50. $50 is the remaining CSWP exams. I'm sorry, there's someone that has his microphone on. Okay, Prasad, can you just turn it off for me, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. You can just mute him since you're the.
Muting him. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So there are the remaining CSWA and P exams are in the $50 category, like the additive manufacturing, the simulation in associate level, and the simulation in professional level, and the flow simulation, the PDM administration in professional level, the CAM, the NBD, the API. All these exams are in the third tier, or the third category. Then comes the $99 category, which is the CSWA in mechanical design, and you're gonna notice that all three segments of the CSWP sum up to $99, which means that the CSWA and P in mechanical design are actually the exact same price, and that's just hilarious. But whatever, the last and biggest, highest tier is for $150, which is the CSWE, whether it's in mechanical design or simulation. So from that, you can see that these are the five tiers or the five categories for pricing. Okay, but as most of you are here for, we want the freebies, right? So we have freebies. Okay, they exist, but there are multiple types or kinds, and for multiple people, multiple kinds of people. So first of all, if you're an employee, you work at a company, and that company actually purchased SolidWorks, and it's on subscription, so it has to be on subscription. It gets actually 3 exams for free per semester per seat. Again, a company which is on SolidWorks subscription, it gets 3 free exams per semester per seat. That means that if it had, for example, 10 seats, then per semester that's 20, and 3 free exams, that's 60 free exams in 1 year, because of course semester is 180 days or 6 months. So these 3 exams are not actually just 3 exams, there are 1 exam in each category. The 3 categories are core exams, advanced topics, and specialty topics. So core exams, which is the CSWA or P, the E isn't available. The advanced topics are the 5 CSWPA exams. The specialty topics are all the others. So additive manufacturing, electrical design, associate level, simulation associate level, simulation in professional level, and of course the rest, CAM, NBD, PDM, that kind of stuff. So for example, if I'm an employee and I work at a company, every 6 months I get 3 free chances, let's put it in that way, because of course as soon as the 6 months are over, the vouchers are over too, but you have to wait for the next 6 months to get one. Okay, and as I said, you get 1 in every category. So that's for employees. What about for students, which is the majority of people in here, I believe? So when it comes to students, if your school is part of the Academic Certification Provider Program, which is a program that SolidWorks makes for students, for schools, okay, if your school is actually part of that program and it's on subscription and it has passed a certain minimum of licenses to purchase, and that actually varies per region. So for example, if the minimum is 40 licenses and your school is on subscription and it's part of the program and it has like 50 licenses of SolidWorks, it can actually give exams for their students for free. So the exam that you can take are these 3 categories. In the associate level, you've got the CSWA mechanical design, the academic version, because that's a little bit different from the original version. There's the CSWA in SD, which stands for Sustainable Design, the CSWA-S, which is the Certified SolidWorks Associate in Simulation. That's for the associate level. In the professional level, there's a CSWP Mechanical Design, also the academic version. There's MBD and professional simulation. And then all 5 of the advanced professional certifications. No CSWE for right now. So these are the exams that are available for you for free if you're a student and your school actually is qualified. So it passes all of these like criterions. Okay. If you're a mere user like you and me, so for example, Prasad, he's already graduated, I believe, and I'm a student, but my college doesn't actually apply to none of these criteria applies to my college. So I'm unfortunately I'm not an employee and I'm not a student in that sort of in that sort of category. So what do I have? So there are a couple of things that you can do to get free exams. The first thing is to attend SOLIDWORKS or 3D Experience events. So for example, most of you might know 3D Experience World 2022 is in next February. So that's an event that is made every single year. And if you apply to that event as a VIP, whether you're a student or as just a person, a user, but if you apply as a VIP, you get access to tons of extra sessions, you get access to a Model Mania competition, and you get access to free certification exams. Okay, engage with the SOLIDWORKS community. That's actually one of the most important points. So for example, what you're doing right now, you guys who are in this session, you're engaging with the SOLIDWORKS community. So whether it's groups on Facebook or on LinkedIn or even on Meetup, if you're part of our Meetup group, even if it's on Reddit or Discord, it's just a community of SOLIDWORKS users that are thriving to improve the community or the level of the community, to put it in that way. If you're part of that, engaging in that, any news, any opportunities, anything like that, of course you are gonna hear about it if you're engaging with the community. Even in GrabCAD, I mean, like, I believe Boostwork has actually has a group on GrabCAD. So if you're joining that group, if you're a member of it, you're gonna get new notifications when a new session, for example, is made. As this session, for example, there are some vouchers in the end, so that's a chance, right? So you don't have to be into every single community that there is out there, because of course there are hundreds, if not thousands, of communities, but at least engage with the nearest to you. And as I said, it doesn't have to be physical, it can just be online, as all of the previous examples I made. They were all online communities. Nothing of them is a physical one. You don't have to get out of your room or even get out of your bed, right? So that's the second thing. The third thing is to follow the official SOLIDWORKS blog. Let me open it real quick. So why should you do that? That's because any main events are going to be announced on it. Any, for example, new certifications that come out, they probably come out, and there are some discounts or such stuff that's also going to be announced on the SOLIDWORKS blog. Any free exams to be announced. So, for example, in 2020, in April of 2020, if I'm not mistaken, there was like an offer where if you passed a certain course, or if you finished a certain course on my SOLIDWORKS platform, which I'm going to talk about in a second, if you passed a certain course, you get a free voucher for CSWA, and that was actually posted on their blog. Okay, so if you come to this blog and go select category and certification, you're gonna find all the different news about the certification program in general. So for example, a new exam came out, or a discount is made, or a chance to get a certification or a free exam through a certain event. So as you can see, this is talking about 3D Experience World. Okay, if I go a bit down, it's going to talk about certifications and their value and how to like validate them. Then there is, over here, there's the new Professional Flow exam. It's in December 2020, as I said. There's more and more topics to talk about in here. So I believe the API exam, here it is. It's a new exam, so when it's going to be announced, it's going to go on their blog, of course, and such stuff. Okay. The next thing is to keep an eye on social promotions. So all of these news, they're not just going to be posted on their blog. I mean, every company has, or most big companies have social media pages. So for example, SOLIDWORKS and the Sol Systems, they both have their pages on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and even Instagram. So if you follow them on these social media platforms, you can actually get these news as soon as they come out, right? And the final thing, which is not for everyone, but it's still a valid way to get free exams, which is if you're a user, okay, but you purchased the SOLIDWORKS Student Edition. So as soon as you purchase it, it comes with vouchers for the CSWA and CSWP mechanical design. So that's another way to get free exams. Okay, so before I just jump on to the next thing, I just want to take a small break to talk about the Experience Certification Center. So as I said, this is the directory for certified users. Okay, you can find tons of stuff over here. So if there are news or anything that is changed or something like that, you're gonna find it over here. Here's like welcome such stuff, a small 101 to how to take an exam. And here is a cool thing, which is the latest certification issued. So for example, a couple of moments ago, Hassan from Indonesia actually passed the professional exam in sheet metal. So congratulations to him. Okay, so that's the home page. We still haven't got into the different pages in here. So let me just log in real quick and show you what it's like. So as soon as I logged in, it's going to take me to my profile where I can see the certifications that I've taken. Okay, for example, if I click on this one, it's going to show you an image of it, and it showed on that date, as I said, the 27th of March. This is the certification ID, which is really important. And from here, I can download the certification, download the logos, and see the QR code, which is actually the exact same QR code on the certification over here. So this ID and that QR code are actually extremely important. Let me say why. So I'm just going to open my LinkedIn profile real quick over here. And as it opens, I'm going to talk about these things. So for example, let me just take this ID real quick. I just copied it, and I can go over here to validate certificate. If I go here and paste the ID and just write these not a robot numbers and say validate, you're going to see that it says, yeah, this is valid. It was taken on that day. It's for Yahya TK. It's in certification in the expert level in the mechanical design topic. Okay, so if you find any certification and you just want to verify it, you can just take it, the ID, and put it over here, and you see if it's valid or not. So if I just put a random bunch of numbers or letters and try it again, I believe, unless I'm pretty lucky, of course, it's going to say that it doesn't exist. As you can see, certification ID not found. So if I found a certificate with that ID on it, I know for sure that it's not a real one. Okay, so here if I went to my LinkedIn profile, okay, and went all the way down to my certificates, the internet's a bit laggy today. Wow. Okay. Yep, here are my certificates. So as you can see, I can add my ID to my certificates. So that's an easy way for anyone to just copy that ID and go to the certification directory and check for himself. And I also added a link. So with that link, let me just click on it, see credential. It's going to take you to this webpage, which is another way to verify the validity of a certification. So as you can see, it says it's valid. The professional level exam in mold making issued to me on that date. Okay, and that link, actually you can make it yourself or you can get it. So there are two ways to get it. So the first way is to scan the QR code that I showed you a bunch ago. So that QR code, which is also on your certificates over here, if you scan these codes, it's going to take you to that web page. The other thing is just take that first part, which is www.cv.virtualtest, lots of stuff, I equals, and then just put your ID. So for example, if I put over here the ID for my CSWE exam and I say enter, it should show me, yeah, here's my CSWE exam and it's valid. Okay, so that's another way to get it. So it's really cool to put it over here, okay, because as I said, these are two ways for people to check the validity of your exam. They just don't have to copy and paste your ID every time. Just clicking on that link will take them. Okay, the second thing here in this directory is a real directory for certified users. Okay, this is the thing I was talking about back when we opened the software, when I said that you have the option to opt out from this directory if you want to be shown or not. So if you don't want to be shown, when I search for you over here, I won't find you. Okay, so for example, if I went to see the CSWP exams, it's going to give me, oh, there are 6 167,000 certified SolidWorks professionals in the world. Okay, let's say, for example, I want to search for experts in Egypt, which is the country I live in. And here it is. Let me just sort them by the first name from the back, because I'm Y. And here I am, yeah, Yahya Kid. So, yeah, some details about me. These are the certificates I have. That's not correct. Let me just zoom out a little bit so that I can see them all. Yep, here they are. So these are the certificates I have, some links to my social profiles, and the date I took each exam of these. I can also do the same with the CSWE exam, and it says that there are 5,855 certified users worldwide. And I can also see that here I am, it's the date I took the exam, the name of the exam, and my name. So if I click on one of these two links, it's going to take you to my personal profiles. Okay, so this is actually a very easy way to search for certified users in your area, because of course I can sort them with the city, and it's also a neat way to search for certified users worldwide. So for example, I want to connect with CWEs from India, for example. I can just go to India and search for them, and so on, right? So that's the second thing, second cool thing for the user directory. So let's go back to over here and resources. This is probably the most important thing I have to talk about today, because yeah, I might purchase an exam, but I don't know what to expect in the exam, or I don't know. Well, Prasad, you just took the presenting
I'm sorry about
ability
that.
from me.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. There you go. Sorry everyone for the inconvenience. That was a mistake.
Yep.
Sorry.
No problem. No problem. Yeah. So here we are. Okay. So now you can see my screen, right? Can you see my screen?
Yeah. We can. Yeah, we can see your screen.
Great. So resources, because as I said, you can take an exam, okay, but you don't know what to expect, or what the style of the exam is, or how the questions are going to be, that kind of stuff, how to prepare. So even though you might have the ability to get to an exam, you don't have the knowledge about the exam itself, right? So that's why I think that resources are extremely important. And the first thing on my list, which is, if anyone asked me for the best resource for SolidWorks in general, not just certifications, it's the built-in tutorials, for two reasons. One, they're free, they come with the software, they're built into SolidWorks, and two, they're cool. Their style is awesome. They cover most, if not all, of the main topics that anyone would use or need in SolidWorks. Okay, if you want tutorials about animation, you'll find SolidWorks simulation, you're gonna find them. Motion studies, you're gonna find them. DIM expert, you're gonna find it. MBD, it's there. API, also there. Lofts and surfaces, it's also there. Name it, anything, even electrical design. There are tutorials about electrical design. Everything you can name in SolidWorks. God, Prasad, you took the presenting ability again. Prasad.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to click on the camera. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys.
No problem.
Okay,
No
then.
problem.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No worries. Okay. So as I said, they were. You just breaking my line of thought. No problem. You can find them over here, and to access them, yeah, Aman, I just saw your question. How to access them? It's actually this image over here. So if you have SolidWorks 2020 from the Service Pack 3 and above, so just go over here to this help menu, this new help menu, and from there go to tutorials. Okay, if you're using a previous version, there is a toolbar like file, edit, view, insert, and such stuff. There's a help menu over there, and just go to there, and also you're gonna find tutorials. As soon as you open it, it's actually gonna open you a big side program on the very right, and from there you can choose the tutorial you want to take, and they're even they're packed up into multiple packages or multiple levels. So these like 3 or 4 for beginners. Then the advanced topics, there you have a couple of more where it goes to lofts and sweeps and basics of surfacing and such stuff. Then you have better, even higher level stuff for animation, for simulation, for electrical design, and that kind of stuff. You have for simulation a couple of tutorials for simulation, just for simulation, dedicated for that, and such stuff. You can even find a small list of preparing for exams. You can go to there and it's going to show you all the tutorials that you should need if you want to prepare for the CSWA exam, for example. Okay, so that's for tutorials. The second main resource is My SolidWorks, which I mentioned a bit earlier in my presentation. And My SolidWorks is the online directory for SolidWorks tutorials. It's the official one. Okay, it's the online go-to place for anything related to SolidWorks. So if you want to download some CAD files, there's Content Central over there. You can download some CAD files from there. If you want to see resources or videos or even e-courses on SolidWorks, you can do that there. I mean, like the amount of data on that website is huge, but for some reason it's like overshadowed by other places. So as you can see, your place for all things SolidWorks, right? It's a perfect place. You should probably check it out. Okay, if you go over here, you can find, if you want to search for CAD models for training, for sessions, for the forum, for support. Right now, let's go for training. And let's say, for example, we want to go for weldments. I'm going to click search, and it's going to show me any tutorials, any courses, e-courses, any learning paths for weldments. So as you can see over here, I have this e-course for weldments, and it's in English. For example, here I had the CSWPA weldment certification sample exam. It's a solution of it. Okay, it's by video, by the way, and I mean, like, here's an introduction to structure systems and so on. So as you can see, these are for weldments. I can even choose if I want just a lesson, a learning path, e-courses. If I'm a guest, which is like you and me, anyone who just went into the website and just made an account and went into it. Standard if you're, I believe, on subscription. Professional if you, I mean, like a higher and higher tiers, as you can see. Okay, you want some training in SolidWorks CAD or MBD, or these of course are related to what I searched for, so it's going to be something that's related to MBD and weldments, for example. The version, which is actually pretty important. So if I want tutorials for an old version, let's say for 2014 version of SolidWorks, I can choose that, and as you can see, all of these are suitable for my old version of SolidWorks software, and so on. I can even choose the language. There are actually some pretty amazing things in Japanese. So these are in English and Japanese, as you can see from the language block over here. Okay, and I can just click on it, take the tutorials. There aren't certifications for this because these aren't supposed to be full-fledged courses. They're just how to not just be a beginner in the software, but just it's gonna take you a level or a step higher than that. Okay, so that's how My SolidWorks. Then comes the certification program website, which is also an overlooked website. It's got like decent data about the certifications in general. Okay, so whoa, PowerPoint wants to crash. Guys, not only you, Prasad, me too.
I think it's happening with everyone these days.
Okay,
yeah,
I mean, I don't know what's going on today. So just a sec, I'm just gonna close PowerPoint and
yeah,
start
definitely,
it again.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like today is the day for SolidWorks for Microsoft crashing.
Yeah, it happened yesterday as well.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm used to SolidWorks crashing, not
yeah,
not this.
True that. I was shocked actually when the Microsoft gave me the notification that it has crashed.
I think the issue is in you, Prasad. I mean, like the common thing in all of these is you. in Sean's session, you were also there, and it crashed. So I think you're the problem, not him.
Oh
Okay,
boy.
I'm going back to present once again. And here I am. Okay, so as you can see, this is the SOLIDWORKS certification program website. It's solidworks.com/solidworks-certification-program. I'm also going to put that link into the chat. Okay, and as you can see, if I just scroll down a little bit, some general instructions, and here it it just sorts all the exams that are present. And if you want to get to know some knowledge about the exam, just go to exam information. So for example, let's open this in a new tab. Or if you want to purchase the exam, just click on take the exam, and it's going to take you to a web page similar to the one we saw when we were into Tanjux Tester. So you see, it still remembers that I wanted to purchase the CSWA simulation, and it added the CSWPA drawing tools too. So from here I could purchase, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for this. For example, I opened this web page for drawing tools. As you can see, I can download the sample exam for this certification, which is the drawing tools, and I'm going to talk about sample exams in a second. This note is extremely important. It tells you the least or the minimum version you should use to get into to take this exam. So for example, for drawing tools, it's 2018. You can't use a previous version. You can use it, but some of the files that you will get in the software in the exam might be future versions, and thus you won't be able to solve these questions. Okay, recommended training courses. These are courses on MySolidWorks. The exam length, I think that's something we all would care to know. Minimum passing grade and about the exam. This is one of the most important things over here, because it tells you the topics you should expect in the exam. Of course, not all of them will be present in your exam, but at least most of them will. Okay, because as you guys know, not all of us get the same exam. If two sat next to each other and they both access the same exam, CSWA mechanical design, for example, I'm going to get a couple of questions, he's going to get a couple of different questions. But what's in common between both of us is these topics. Both of us will get the same topics, right? And finally, the retest policy. For example, it's 14 days for all the exams except for the CSWE exams. It's 60 days in that case. And that just means that if you unfortunately didn't pass your exam on the first time, you have to wait a waiting period, which is the 14 days for these exams, before you get to take the exam another time. Even if you purchase the exam, yeah, so for example, as soon as I failed it, I purchased the same exam another time, I won't be able to take that exam unless I wait for the 14-day waiting period. Okay. So this is not just for one exam, it's for all exams. And what's cool is even the 3D experience exams over here, you can also find details about them. Okay, so that's what's cool about this website. Okay, so we talked about the built-in tutorials, the MySolidWorks website, the certification program website. Now let's talk about sample exams. So as I said, you can download these sample exams from the certification program website. It's gonna be something like this. So this, for example, is the sample exam for CSWP CAM. Okay, so of course, these are the contents. You have just some general things. I'm just going to skip them real quick. These are the details that are present on the website. So the topics it's going to go through, the number of questions, the time, such stuff. And then this is the part where it's really important, which is how to install and start the exam. And if I zoom over here, as you can see, this is the no credits I was talking about. And this is the start exam, which means that he already has purchased the segment 1, 2, 3 of the CSWP. So if he clicked on start the exam, he can go ahead and go over here. It's gonna ask him to select the language. So as you might know, most of the most of the exams are present in multiple languages. Unfortunately, Arabic, which is my main language, isn't present yet, but most of the exams have multiple languages. Okay, you can choose the language, say start the exam, it's going to confirm, are you sure? Yes, you have to accept the NDA, okay, the non-disclosure agreement, which means that you can't post the answers for the exam, or you can't talk about the questions and their answers, or that kind of stuff. Anything is confidential inside the exam. Okay, otherwise it's considered cheating. Then this page where it tells you, remember, you have to use this version. It's 6 questions, for example, it's 90 minutes, la la la. Start examination. It downloads the questions and you stopped. Okay, so this is how you start the exam. Now, the second part of this PDF is the sample exam itself, which is this part. So as you can see, here's a question and a couple of steps, and then a couple of images, which is typical for any standard exam you're going to take. They have some text on the right, some images over here, and the answers are down at the bottom. So here you have the images and the question, and you have the answers for these questions at the very end of the PDF. So if here, for example, this is a multiple choice question, and these are the 4 options you have. So A, B, C, D. If you go all the way to the end of the PDF, end of test, here's the answer key, and you have the solution. So what I think that the maximum use, the best use will be, okay, is to answer these exams on your own, and after you finish, just go to this answer key and check the correct and wrong answers for yourself. In that way, you can simulate a perfect exam scenario for yourself, right? And at the very end, there are some facts and stuff, frequently asked questions. If you have, like, as I said, if your internet connection failed, here it is. What should you do? You can tell the support team that something happened, and as I said, you have to send them the log files or the text files and such stuff. So these are also worth reading, right? So that's when it comes to sample exams. I just want to mention another thing. For the CSWA in mechanical design and for the CSWP in mechanical design, the first segment, both of them have sample exams inside the software. So if I open Tangex Tester and I scroll down a little bit in the list of available exams, I'll find that there are sample exams. Just the same questions in the PDF, they are also present inside of the software, which means that I can simulate a real life exam scenario in the software, but of course it's not for real, it's just a sample exam. So in that way, you can know what to expect, how the interface is going to be, how to enter answers, how to see the questions, how to work with multiple softwares open at the same time, because as you guys know, you have SolidWorks open and you have the Tangex Tester software open at the same time. Some of you might have an issue going from one window to another. Some of you might have dual screen setup, one for the software and the other for Tangex, and so on. So it just gives you a better opportunity to like know for yourself what to expect inside of an exam environment. The final resource, which is personally, I mean, like, I shouldn't be talking about it, but this resource is the best resource out there, guys. You have to check it out. Okay, I'm just kidding. This is what Prasad was talking about a couple of minutes earlier before we started the presentation, which is a series of articles that I made on LinkedIn about the exams. So this is the link. I'm also going to share in the chat. Okay, here it is. So as you can see, if you go over here, you'll have Journey to the Certs, which is the name of the series, and you have these 8 articles, one dedicated for, each one is dedicated for a certain exam. So for example, this is for the CSWE exam, this is for the Weldments sheet metal surfacing. As of right now, these are the 8 exams in the mechanical design line, all of them. So CSWE mechanical design and P and A, and the 5 CSWPAs. So for example, if I open the CSWPA in Weldments, it's going to take you to the articles link. Okay, as I said, it's on LinkedIn. And over here, you can see for yourself what I think are the most important stuff to know before you enter an exam. So at the very beginning, there's a small intro, okay, and then I just get into the main points which you should like focus on. Okay, these are just like the topics that were on the certification program website. So, but these are in my opinion. Okay, and of course, every now and then you're gonna find some tips that you should probably give them a shot, because most of them will be useful while taking an exam. So for example, here I am talking about 3D sketches in the Weldments exam, okay? And my tip is to use the tab button when trying to add dimensions or even sketch in the 3D sketching environment, because tab, as some of you might know, it toggles between the dimensioning states, which is the shortest distance, or the delta x, delta y, delta z values of the dimension. Okay, so such stuff like that. These are my tips. At the very end, you find the resources. Of course, I'll always start with the built-in resources, because, as I said, they're the easiest, the most accessible stuff. Okay, and here's an image of how it's going to look like. Okay, my SolidWorks and the learning path for Weldments, for example, then the sample exam, and if there are any external resources I have. So for example, if I come over here to surfacing, you're going to see some external resources that I think are worth looking at. Okay, of course, the thing in common in all of my resources is that they're all for free. So none of these are paid resources. So over here, you find some SolidWorks World presentations from a couple of years ago, which actually are awesome. You have to check them out. Rob Maldonado, which some of you might know as Virtual Flat CAD, his YouTube channel has tons of resources. For example, here's the simulation exam. So he actually has a video on that and such stuff. All the resources I include over here are free, because I think that I made these articles in the intent of being available to everyone. Okay, but in case of some of you want to ask about paid resources, there are some decent things out there, but of course I'm not going to say them or mention them in the articles, because I just think that these should be accessible to everyone out there. So whether he's a student, he's an employee, or he's a graduate, for example, anything, but I should also take into consideration that he might have the like the ability to purchase online courses or not. Okay, so here they are. And of course, if you want to send me something, you can send me by email or via LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile is also down here. Okay, so these are about the resources. Now let's get into the best part in the presentation, the Q&A. So that's all for today. Time for a Q&A. It took me a time actually to get something that rhymes, so I'd love someone to appreciate that. Anyways, if you have any questions, I'm going to go through the chat, because I know that there are tons of questions right now, but just in case I didn't get to see them all, you can scan that QR code and it's going to take you directly to my LinkedIn profile, where you can DM me, you can send me a message, and I'm an open networker, so I'm available most of the time to answer any of your questions, any of your doubts, whether they're in SolidWorks or related to anything else CAD related in general. Okay, so with that out of the way, let me go through the questions and see.
Okay, Aman has asked that, what about certification validation?
Yeah, certification validation, I talked about that through the presentation. If you, Aman, still have any doubts about that, yeah, you can send it in the question in the chat. I might give it another shot if you want.
Nufail Ahmad has one question. What are 3D experience certifications related to?
Okay, what are 3D experience certifications related to? That's a good question. So as most of you might know, there are two main Actually, they're not two. There are actually more than two. But in general, Dassault Systems has multiple softwares like CATIA, like SolidWorks, like there are tons of them. Like Simula, for example. There's also the 3D Experience apps. Okay, I was just gonna say two things that are most related to SolidWorks users because there's a high similarity between 3D Experience apps and SolidWorks. Okay, so in terms of SolidWorks users' interests, these two are to some extent extremely similar. The only difference is that 3D Experience apps are like SolidWorks, but it's separated into multiple different apps. So there's an app for sheet metal, there's an app for mold making, there's an app for weldments, there's an app for surface or like mesh modeling, which is called X-Shape. There's an app for just CAD, parametric CAD design, which is X design, and each one of these has its own has its own exam and therefore its own certification. Okay, I hope that that was a sufficient answer. So we also have a couple of questions here. Can we obtain a physical certification from this examination? No, not anymore. I believe before, I mean, like a couple of good years ago, they were mailed to you. But right now, they're all PDFs. As I showed you on the certification directory, you can download your PDF from anywhere in the world. But of course, you can print it out. I mean, like you can print it out on the paper and put it in a border, put it behind you. I mean, like it's gonna look cool, but unfortunately, they don't send them out anymore. Okay.
So Sachin Shankar has given CSWA additive manufacturing exam, and he wants to pursue a career in just a second. Yeah, in additive manufacturing and robotics. So what's the next certification he should do to achieve his goals?
Okay. So as you remember at the very beginning of the exam, I said that some exams are one-offs, and additive manufacturing was one of these. Okay, so there are no professional level additive manufacturing exams or even experts. But with that being said, additive manufacturing is more about practical use than software use. So what I mean by that is the skills you have from additive manufacturing, if they're just theoretical skills, they're not enough. Okay, because if any of you is into 3D printing and that kind of stuff, if you have 2 3D printers at home and like the first printer is from, let's say, from Prusa, and the second one is like Ultimaker, you're probably going to use different slicers for each one. Although you can use the same for both, you probably have different settings for each one. You probably have different, I mean, like tips and tricks for every printer, small tweaks here and there. These things you don't study online, you can't see them in SolidWorks. But practical use is what, practical knowledge is what gives you the better chance in these kind of stuff. So when it comes to additive manufacturing, I think there are 2 things you have to focus on. The first is CAD designing in general, because after all, if you're designing something to be 3D printed, so yeah, you know the general things about 3D printing, but you also have to be good at 3D designing. So I can recommend the CSWA in mechanical design, since it's the and the CSWP too. Okay, so these both don't actually get very they don't delve into advanced topics like weldments or sheet metal or that kind of stuff that you won't need to use as a 3D printing guru, but it's just gonna show him how to make just a high level decent parametric CAD models, right? So as I said, so just to recap, working practically, that's the first thing on my list, and then CAD designing in general. Okay, I hope that's enough.
Okay,
if you still have any other doubts in my answer, feel free. Okay, Sachin is saying, where can we get announcements regarding vouchers? As I said, following them on social media, following SolidWorks and Dassault Systems, checking the blog every now and then, and most importantly, engaging with the SolidWorks community and with SolidWorks user groups in your place. Okay, what is 3D Experience? It's from No Fail. Is that the company of SolidWorks? No, actually, it's just like SolidWorks. The main company is called Dassault Systems, and it has like sub brands of it. Which one of them is SolidWorks? 3D Experience apps are also one of them, and there are others, as I said, CATIA, Simula, Abacus, that kind of stuff. Okay, so Aman is asking, Aman Sharma, if we copy and paste the link, so does it update every day's date? I think he's talking about the validation date, sorry, validation link of the certifications. So yeah, there are two dates on it. The first date is the date that user took the exam, and the second one is the date you checked the exam. And I'm not sure, I mean, like, I don't have backed up data about this topic, but in my opinion, I think that the second one is, for example, if a certification got deleted or expired, for example, okay, so having the date of when it was there means that if you check it another time and you find that it wasn't there, you can now say, oh yeah, it was here at that, let's say last year it was here, and I have a screenshot of it with the date of the day. And this year, when I search for it, it gives me an error. That means it's removed or expired. Or I think expired actually shows you the certificate with the expired tag on it. So I mean that can only be available for deleted exams or revoked exams.
Yeah.
But I mean it doesn't matter that much because as you know, what really matters is your name, the date you took the exam, and the name or the title of the certification.
We have the question from Jibin Jose. Can SolidWorks recover the file you were working on after a crash? Yeah. I mean,
can it save the file after the crash?
No.
Well, there's an option. I mean,
it does recover, right?
Okay, so yeah, it does recover, but that's an option you have to turn it on manually. So if you go to the options and search in the search bar, because I'm not sure right now off the top of my head where it is, but if you search for backup or recover, you're gonna find that there's an option to create backups of your files every 20 minutes, every 5 minutes. You're the one who specifies the time, and it just creates backups for you every now and then. So in case it crashed, yeah, it can recover the latest version of your file.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have
so here's a question, a very good question from Aman Sharma. He's asking, if I got a certification, is it possible to edit my name afterwards? It is possible, but you have to be like, you have to do it in the right way. So how to do that? Of course, if any of you went to his own profile, he'll notice that he can edit any of his details, but not his name. That's because the name can only be edited twice. Well, not edited, it can be set twice. Once when you make the account at the very first time, and the second, no, it's not one time, but the second way is to contact the certification team and tell them, hey guys, I want to change my name from this to that, and they have to review your application and see whether you are asking for something that's okay or not. So for example, I actually changed my name on my certifications before. It was a shorter name than this, but I just wanted to add a couple of more letters in it, so it became Yahya Tikaj on my certifications. So that's okay if I'm adding. So for example, if I want to change it to Yahya Tariq Kaj, which is my middle name, it's okay too. But if I'm called Yahya and I want to change it to Prasad, of course that's not available, right? So so yeah, you can do it. You can send an email to certification@solidworks.com. That's the certification team's email, and they can help you with it. So Yugarama is saying, I hope I can pass the CSWP exam. We hope you can pass it too. Is CSWP mechanical design and CSWP, I think he meant A and P, useful for electrical vehicle design? So when it comes to electrical vehicle design, I think I touched that topic at the very beginning of my presentation. When it comes to designing in general, designing for manufacturing, okay, you need to use the tools that you're going to manufacture with and apply and see what software or what features in the software you need to make these tools a real thing. So for example, when you're designing an electrical vehicle, I think it's 100% you're gonna use weldments, unless of course you're making like something with you know, like a I don't actually remember the name, but yeah, body designing, you don't really need that kind of stuff. But if you're making the cockpit itself or the interior of the car itself, you're definitely going to use weldments. So that's something that isn't present in the CSWA or P mechanical design. If you're going to use, if you're going to design the body, for example, you need to use surfacing, okay, and so on. So it depends on what team you're in, what sub team you're in, and what's the role that you're going to do. And according to that, you can say, yeah, we're going to use these and these and these manufacturing ways to model a model. To make a model with these ways, I need to have certain skills in the software in these areas. So you work hard in these topics, and if these topics have exams, and most probably they will, so then you can take the exams in these specific topics. Jay has a question here. How much time should we invest into practice before taking up the CSWA mechanical design exam? Okay, so let's make it a general question. How much time should I invest before taking any exam? There is no definitive answer for that because it differs from one person to another. In my case, I had 4 years of experience before I even took my CSWA exam, but that's late, right? I already had the ability to pass the exam way before that, but I just didn't take the exam, right? Okay, right? So if you already have the ability to take the exam and you're just going to study for it, okay, then the sample exam is probably the best gauge, or the best, yeah, let's go with gauge. It's the best way to see your level, to test your level, to see whether you are already ready for that level of the exam or not. So for example, if you want to go to the CSWP exam, okay, how would you know if you're ready or not? Take the sample exam. Of course, the sample exam isn't the best way to define how the exam goes, because most of the time sample exams are a bit easier than the exam itself, but at least it's going to give you an overview of what to expect in the exam, what kind of advanced questions there are over the or higher than the previous level, which is the CSWA, for example. So check the topics. That's also another thing. The list of topics that the exam covers on the website of the exam, the certification program website. Go to the CSWA mechanical design exam webpage and see the topics, and make sure that you already know every one of these topics and that you are good enough, confident in your own skills in these topics. So for example, if one of them was working with boundary surfaces, for example, and that's, I mean, like that's not there, but I'm just giving an example. If you have never used boundary surfaces before, then I think that you should start working on that topic first before you even try and take the exam and such stuff. Where do you share your projects? For Yahya and Prasad, let me go first. I share my projects on LinkedIn. I used to share them on GrabCAD, but I've stopped for a while. But right now it's on LinkedIn. I haven't posted any new projects for a while, but there are some big stuff coming up pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. Okay, I think Prasad, you should answer that first too.
Well, there's Behance, GrabCAD, like you have said, and LinkedIn.
After getting your certification, what opportunities opened itself for you? So, okay, first of all, this session, I don't think that, okay, so let me go 2 steps further, not even 1 step. Back when I took my CSWE exam, I decided that I'm going to make these series of animation of articles. Okay, so certifications led to the articles. The articles are what made Prasad know me and what made him confident into asking me to come here and give a presentation. So I think that this is a very good example on how certifications helped. So being a presenter on a specific topic, it means that to some extent you are knowledgeable in that field, right? So that's a thing I said before, which is proof to those who are around you that you are knowledgeable in a certain field, in a certain level to a certain topic. Sorry, in a certain topic to a certain level. Okay, I'm still a student, so most of the points I made were more directed to graduates and employees and that kind of stuff. But for me, that's one of the main ones. The other things are like having like a strong base. When let's say I want to talk about weldments, okay, someone asked me a question, about weldments, when I answer him, he already knows that Yahya is knowledgeable in that topic because he's certified in it. Okay, so if you have a question in surfacing, you're gonna look, oh, here's a certified user, he's a not certified user, a non-certified user, he's someone who shared his projects online, and I can see that he actually is knowledgeable in that kind of stuff. He's someone that just added to his LinkedIn profile and didn't show me any evidence of his skills. So of course, most of us are going to go to the certified user who showed us his ability or his level in that certain topic. Okay, so I'm not sure this is something I should be talking about, but I get daily somewhere between 50 and 100 messages on LinkedIn asking me for advice, asking me for details about different projects, different details about this different programs in the SolidWorks community, like the Champions program, for example. Questions like directly CAD questions. Someone giving me a file and telling me, here I have a mistake. What is it? Here I have an error. What can I do? That kind of stuff. So being known in the community, that's also another thing, which again opens more opportunities for you, whether to be a presenter like I'm doing right now, or for a job in the future. How are you going to mix your electrical engineering degree with your SolidWorks expertise? Okay, that's an easy one. First of all, electrical engineering also, I'm not an electrical engineer, that's for starters, I'm electronics, okay? And that includes designing, let's say I'm making a robot, so I'm not just into the part where electronics are the electronics of the robot, not just that I'm into, I'm also into the mechanics of the robot. So if I'm the same person that's doing this and that, I can make sure that let's say, for example, I get a controller, for example, for the electrical components. I can make sure that this controller is going to fit into my design because I'm the one who chose both of them, right? So that's like a quick example of how both fields actually go together. And that's actually why in SolidWorks, there's SolidWorks Electrical, and you can actually like make an electromechanical integration in your models, okay? So that's because not just that these two fields are actually interconnected, but they're also like they complete one another. Okay, so whoever works in this field, he'll need some knowledge in that field to work perfectly. How can I attend the events you mentioned in the beginning of the webinar? So as I said, these events are known by through social media, via social media. So for example, how do I attend these events? All I do is just I follow the right people or the right pages, or I join the right groups. I communicate with the right people and ask them or check regularly for similar events and such stuff. And that's the easiest way. And I believe you can post every now and then. Does anyone know if there's anything? But I mean, the easiest way is just follow the right people, the right pages, and your feed is automatically going to get that kind of stuff. Okay. There's another question. Is there online version of SolidWorks? No, there isn't. There is an online trial of SolidWorks. So before purchasing it, you can actually take an online trial of the software, but not for long. I mean, like it's, I believe, only 7 days or something like that. Yeah. But there's the 3D Experience apps, which like XDesign, XShape, XSheet Metal, that kind of stuff. And these are, to some degree, very similar to SolidWorks. So there are these 3D Experience apps which are on the 3D Experience platform, and I think you should give them a shot. I mean, like there are some pretty decent stuff you can do with them, to be honest. Is there any shortcut for save as in SolidWorks? Okay, I mean, first of all, are there shortcuts in SolidWorks? Yes, there are, and you can make them for yourself. So, for example, if you are you make open a lot, you can control O and it's going to open. If you want to make a sketch, you can go to options, customize, and from there go to keyboard, and you can add any keyboard shortcuts you want. So anything, any tool, anything feature, any command in SolidWorks, you can add a shortcut for it. There are very small exceptions for that. I mean, like some things don't have that thing if they don't have a button. So if it doesn't have a button, then it doesn't have a shortcut. But when it comes to save as, yes, there is. And as I said, you can make it anything you want, not just the known ones that are on the SolidWorks. The default ones, you can change them anytime as you like. So for example, I did that. I mean, like most of my shortcuts are totally different than the ones that most people use. And I find that it's easier that way to use SolidWorks when it comes to me, right? Because having something personalized to yourself means that you can use it at ease, and having your your own style, your own setup, means that you will be using your own software in the fastest way for you, right? I think the default shortcut, to be honest, I think it's Shift Control Alt S instead of Control S. That's the default, but as I said, you can change that at any time. Out of 10, how would you rate the difficulty of the CSWA mechanical design exam? Well, I'm an expert, so when it comes to me, it's probably going to be relatively easy. If you ask a CSWP, he's going to say that it's a bit harder because he hasn't went that much higher in terms of levels. But since I have seen all the exams in the mechanical design lineup, I think it's relatively easy. With that being said, I'm probably going to put it somewhere between 3 and 4, since it's probably the first exam most of you will take, and it covers multiple topics, not that much topics. It only covers sketching, making basic parametric models and basic assemblies, but it's just like when you're going for your very first exam, it's like a different style, and there's a certain level of difficulty or fear inside of you that should be taken account for. So I think that from 3 to 4, let's go with 3.5. That sounds like a good number for me. But if I'm talking in general with another CSWE, I'm gonna say probably 2. So to be honest, yeah. Okay, that's a good question. Is it okay? Should we pass the CSWA before the CSWP? Nope. The only 2 exams that have prerequisites are the CSWE level exams, whether it's for mechanical design or for simulation. The rest are not. So you can take any exam before any exam, it doesn't matter. You actually don't even have to take the CSWE exam at all. So you can take the CSWP for mechanical design, 4 CSWPAs, and just go straight for the CSWE exam. And I think most people, I know many users who have done that. They are expert, but they have never taken the CSWA exam, because why take it if I'm already taking the CSWP, which to be honest, they're both the same price, but one of them is higher in level than the other. So if you're already confident in your skills, just go for the higher one. Is knowledge important, or certified knowledge person required to company? That's a question from Abinash. I'm not sure I understand, but I think that you're asking if a certification is required to work at a company. It's not, but having it gives you a better chance. So if you have 2 candidates, both of them have the exact same skill set, but one of them is certified, the other is not, I think he's going to be, his chance in being accepted will be a bit higher. But of course, I'm saying if they both have the exact same skills. Okay, so I mean, I know lots of users that haven't taken any exams at all, but they're experts in their field. So it's possible. But I'm saying if there are 2 that are at the same level and one is certified, he's probably just like standing out in the crowd. Okay, so he will probably get a better chance. So yeah, but as you said, knowledge is still the most important thing. So knowledge comes first, because when you think of it, you don't get certified unless you're qualified. and you don't get qualified unless you have enough knowledge, whether it's in the software, in practical uses of what you're designing, as in the professional advanced exams, as I said earlier in the session, um, industry related knowledge, that kind of stuff. All these things are needed before you even take the step and take the exam. Yeah, so I think that's it. Okay, wow, we finished the questions. That was a long session.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through
We had a
the questions. First of all, SolidWorks crashes for loading large assemblies. How can we tackle it? There are many things to do. The easiest thing is to go to the first thing, while you're opening the assembly, don't open it in resolved mode. Open it in large assembly mode or even large design review mode. These modes will reduce the time and the resources that the software will take from your computer while opening it. That's because when it comes to these types of modes, you don't actually load the entire details of every single model. You only load like the general outline or the general outline and the appearances and colors and such stuff. I mean, every mode has its own options. For most of them, you can't even edit the parts while they're in the assembly because they're not even fully loaded. You don't even get their the feature tree. You don't even get that because it's only like a preview of your assembly. You can still work with it, but not to the higher extent, which is for resolved mode. But if you have to work in resolved mode, then the other thing I'm going to talk about is to adjust your settings. So if you go to settings, document properties, then you go to, I believe it's image quality. There are sliders for how high and low the quality of your model is. If you want the best performance, get the sliders to the very left. If you want the worst performance but the highest quality, then drag it to the very right. Okay, so you have to also is to know the inverse relationship between quality and performance. High performance, low quality, high quality, low performance. Okay, what else? You can also turn off any appearances, turn off any shadows, ambient occlusion. If you have real view on, you should turn that off too. All these looking good things actually affect the performance. As I said, quality affects performance, so you should probably do that. You can also suppress any files you're not working with. So for example, if I'm working on a big assembly, but right now I'm just working with 2 or 3 components, I can suppress all the others just that I can work a bit faster and a bit freely with my assembly. Yeah, of course there's a long list of things you should do to improve your performance with assemblies, but these are just like the main things to do. And finally, make sure that nothing else is working in the background with SolidWorks, because SolidWorks is a bit demanding when it comes to system resources. So you probably want to close anything else, especially if it's Google Chrome. Yeah. Okay, I think that question is done. What's the roadmap to SolidWorks Champion? But first of all, there was a session that Sean O'Neill made at Boostweb. Okay. I think it was the previous session. So you can watch if Prasad will send the recording link in the.
Yeah, I was just about to share that link.
So yeah, he shared it over there. Yeah, great. So that's the first thing to see, which is Sean O'Neill. As you guys know, he is the big boss of the Champions program. So so you should check that out. But in general, there is no such thing as a roadmap to SolidWorks Champions, because when it comes to being a champion, you're more or less hand selected. So yeah, tons of you applied, but every application is being reviewed. Okay, and what you do to yourself and to the community, that's what defines if you're a worthy person to become a champion or not. So I believe I said that before with Prasad. I knew a certified SolidWorks expert that didn't get into the champions program, but back when I got accepted, I was still a certified SolidWorks professional. Why? Because I was I was immersed in the community. I actively worked with other people to improve the community. I volunteered in many things. I just cared about the community as much as I cared about myself. Yeah, let's put it in that way. So the Champions program, in its very core, it just wants someone who is not just here to prove his own skills, but he's also here to help others improve their own skills. He's here to showcase his skills in terms of the software, not in terms of his own personal identity. So you're not here to publish or to make a better brand of yourself, but you're here to show people how SolidWorks helped you, how to integrate it with your everyday life and such stuff. That's the kind of person they're after. But with that being said, they still prefer if you're a certified user. They prefer if you're attending their events. They prefer if you are a beta or alpha tester of the software. They prefer, you know, someone that, I mean, like all these points, we can sum them up into one sentence: someone who cares about the community and interacts with it as much as he cares about his own skill set. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna say. Okay, we have another question over here, which is 15th
i5.
is i5 with GTX 1650 enough for Formula Supra Baja events? Okay, is it Baja? Is it Baja, right? Or Baja?
Baja, yeah.
Baja, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I got it right. That's good. Yeah, because I used to say Baja at the very beginning.
Yeah, me too at the beginning,
Okay,
but then I got to
so
know it's Baja.
yeah, so first of all, that's not enough to say if that's gonna like perform well with SolidWorks or not. But in general, let's talk about the GPU, for example. It's a GTX. That means it's part of the GeForce lineup, and the GeForce lineup is actually more dedicated for gaming, not for professional work. The Quadro lineup, which is now renamed into the A lineup, so RTX A 6000,
Yeah.
A 2000, and that kind of stuff, which stands for Ampere, I believe. That's what is dedicated for professional work. Okay, with that being said, you can still use that laptop or that setup if it's a PC, for example, but don't expect it to give you the most perfect performance just because you have a high graphics card. Okay, so the lowest Quadro GPU will probably going to like surpass it, skyrocket in terms of performance and quality when it's compared to a high-end gaming GPU. Okay, when it comes to processor, I mean, like i5 10th gen, that's still not enough. There are tons of other details that I need to see just to make my assumption. I believe it's going to be an H type processor, but which is good, but still there are many versions, so I have to know for sure. But in general, if you're just using SolidWorks for designing, so no rendering, no animation, no rendering, no simulation, animation not that big of a deal. If you're into just modeling and that kind of stuff, then you're probably you're gonna need a high core processor. Sorry, my bad. You're gonna need a high frequency
GPU.
processor. So
Okay.
yeah, high frequency. Yeah. So even if the number of cores is low, I believe the least thing you can get right now is a 4. I mean, like, or even 6. I'm not sure if they even make any more quad core processors which are high
No, they
end.
don't.
But
Yeah.
yeah, right. But the number of cores doesn't really matter when you're working with parametric modeling in general, not just SolidWorks, because SolidWorks only uses one core, but it needs the high frequency of that core. Let's say if that processor is 3.9 gigahertz and it boosts to 4.5, for example, that means that in 1 second it can make all of these calculations deep down in the software, and that's what you need. But having multiple cores won't be useful unless you're into rendering or you're into simulation. So when it comes to simulation, a high core processor is what's going to be the best. When it comes to basic modeling and assemblies and that kind of stuff, what you really have to look at is the frequency of the processor. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. So Angad responded with, is 4.22 gigahertz a good speed? Yep, that is a good speed. As I said, the higher the better. I mean, it's not always that case, but in general, the higher is the better. Okay, so Jivin is asking, do you use any third-party add-ons or plugins for a better workflow? Not really. I'm not using any add-ons, but I'm using macros. So I use lots of macros with SolidWorks, but not any add-ons in particular. I mean, I have one which is called Time Savers, but I only used it once or twice. Okay, but in general, most of my my repetitive work is made through my macros. Macros are like they're perfect.
Macros.
So there's another question, which is what is VBA and macro? So VBA, which is Visual Basic Application, and macro is an application that you make based on some sort of programming, whether it's in VB language or in another language. But just to be like a general overview, it's a way of programming a small software that works within SolidWorks to make repetitive tasks, to make a series of steps without you even having to do it yourself. So, for example, there's a macro that I use, which is for resizing my models. Most of you will say, that's the scale feature. Yeah, but what it does, it goes through every dimension in my model and it edits it with a scale factor or a scale value. Okay, so that's something I use pretty often, and I have a macro for that. So instead of me having to do that for myself, I have a macro that does that for me. There are macros for like exporting multiple files, macros for, I mean, like anything you can think of, you probably can find a macro for it. And if you can't find it, you can even make it yourself using the SolidWorks API. So you can make yourself a couple of macros. It needs some basic knowledge when it comes to programming, but you can make some macros without even needing to learn programming if you're using it with the macro recorder feature within SolidWorks. So you just make a couple of features, make a couple of steps, record them, and SolidWorks will convert them to a macro for you. But apart from that, if you want something more advanced, you have to learn some programming, whether it's in C++, C#, or even Visual Basic. So if you're interested in that, that's called API, and it's in SolidWorks, and there are some pretty decent resources out there for that. Okay, so we're way past the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great thing.
Wow. I know we are way past, but we answered all the questions and we had an amazing session for the second time.
Yeah, that's what
it was
important.
Just amazing. Yeah, thank you all for attending. Thank you, Yahya, and we'll see you in the next meeting. I'm not gonna say anything else.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See you guys. Bye bye. Have an amazing day.